Well, howdy, all you collector car fans out there. This is Jason, the owner and founder of Southern Bush Motorsports and Southern Bush Consulting. Boy, we got a good Tales from the Bush for you today. This was kind of a weird one because it's more or less going to help people see that you need to make sure that you're actually seeing what you're seeing when you look at a car. So, I was called out to this place in North Carolina. It was kind of a small town in North Carolina. Kind of in the beginning of my career, and this was really my first big place that I found. I'm just showing you pictures of all these cars. I'm not going to name what the cars are. Just enjoy the pictures, but really to enjoy the story. So this guy had basically made all his money like Mr. Jimmy Patterson here in Canada. He made his money by putting billboards on the side of the highway. Smart guy. He was in a wheelchair. He was kind of difficult to deal with because I think he was sick with something else. He couldn't really be around very much. Definitely talked to me a little bit. He gave me the free reign of the place, take all the pictures that you want. He appreciated what I was doing, and he thought it would help him out too. And I'll tell you what, this building was pretty big, and he had employees running all around for his other business and stuff. And I spent 2 days out here, and there were some really cool cars here. I kid you not, like I mean, got an Impala convertible, which is a beautiful car. Um, got to do some inspections on cars like that were out there. Got to do inspections on all the other cars. And, like Camaros, Chevelles, there were just so many cars out there. And even though I was just getting into the business then, I was probably been doing this for about 5 years. So I call that just getting into the business. Even though I was the only one out there doing this full time, you know, sometimes you can just see stuff and you're like, something's wrong here. As I got walking around looking at all these cars, I just kind of thought to myself, where'd this guy collect all these cars? There must have been 250 cars in this building. I can't remember the number, but they were really cool cars. Basically, this was the place that you went to if you wanted to buy just a Camaro. Didn't care about anything, about original paint, numbers matching, whatever. You can see these cars aren't original looking. That beautiful Chevelle was out in the front of the building. But after about the second day being out there, because there were so many cars, I had to spend a lot of time there. Well, that's one of my favorite Malibus right there, SF. Well, maybe that wasn't an SF. But anyways, after being out there for a couple of days, just something didn't seem right with these cars. Like something was off. Like they were just all exactly the same. Not stock, but not perfect. 66 Chevelle right there. So, I pulled out some of the books in my van that I traveled around in. It was a camper van. I pulled out some of the books on some of these Chevelles and started looking at some of the numbers. I'm sitting there at nighttime, it's a rainstorm, and I'm looking at all these numbers on Chevelles and stuff, and where to find body numbers and engine numbers and stuff. Because, I'm not 100%. I don't mind admitting it. I don't mind admitting that I didn't know everything about cars, but, I wanted to make sure that I would present the best product I could to my customers, the potential customers. So I started going back over these cars in a different way. A different way meaning I was looking at these cars for original motor, drivetrain, rear end, transmission. If the car's been apart, has it been repainted? So as I started walking around this place and going back over cars that I already looked at, like I said, I was in my second day. Look at that car. It's beautiful. Nice paint, beautiful interior, nice car. It's kind of like this. I felt that these cars were all starting to look like just stock cars that somebody could get in there with 20 grand and get a muscle their first muscle car and have something to drive around. But it just got so much deeper than that. When I started doing some research and checking numbers and stuff like that, I mean, something just didn't feel right, especially with starting to get in some of these SS Camaros and GTOs and stuff like that. I mean, something was just off. So on my second day in there, I decided I'm going to start writing down VIN numbers. I mean, look at this place. This was just a corner. There's 50 cars sitting there, and this was just a corner. Like, this guy had the setup of all setups to sell people muscle cars. And that's when it really started to dawn on me, this is just too good to be true. Because he had 100 cars sitting outside, not to mention the 250 cars sitting in a building. Just started to seem like, to me, it was just too good to be true. How can this guy have so many cars that are true cars in this one place? It's another car. It's beautiful. Look at it. RSSS. So that's when like I said, I was starting to write down numbers and all that. My second night there, I was sitting in my van, like I said before. It was a rainstorm, and I really had to cut the night short. Oh, that convertible. So my second night in, I'm sitting in my van, rainstorm. Start running some of these VIN numbers against books and magazines and stuff like that. Like I really put a lot of work into what I was doing. And then it hit me about 3:30 in the morning on my second night, sitting in a van in a rainstorm, and I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe what I just figured out, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle it because I didn't want to get kicked out of this place. But I had discovered something. I had figured out the lies, and I really mean the lies. Like I didn't know it was a cover up, or maybe this guy just didn't know. But when you're talking about 300 cars, I mean, really, is that a '69 Yenko Camaro? Because that's what it says on it. And it was really this car that set it all off. Something was up. I really didn't know what it was that I felt was up. That's completely different when that's supposed to be a '69 Yenko Camaro. See how buried in the building it is, even though I blurred out the pictures. That was the next day. The other one was outside. It just, something felt funny. Beautiful cars, nice cars, good drivers. Oh, that Camaro SS. Just something was off. I didn't know what it was. So I did a lot of walking around and taking more numbers down for my third day there. You know, that's a lot of cars to look after. That's a Chevelle convertible. And the issue that I had was that it had a description of the car in each one of the windows. But it didn't say anything about clones or not a real SS, not a real Chevelle. Nice and Impala right there. He had cars like this outside that were like $10,000 cars. You just want something to get into that's an old car, there you go, outside. Cheap cars. But it was inside where the problem was. That's where I discovered a lot of issues. Then I decided to go out here and I had to take a leak. And I saw this car sitting there and I'm like, huh, something looks hinky about that car. And then I started walking around the back of the building and I noticed a lot of stuff. I mean, a green Camaro, really, with a blue interior. I mean, come on. So now everything started to set off all the bells and whistles in my head that this may be a chop shop of clones. And then I started walking around in the back and I saw all this stuff. Parts cars. Nobody keeps a four-door 57 Chevy Bel Air station wagon unless they got a good reason for it. Like the entire front clip fits a real two-door 57 Chevy Bel Air. Look at the pieces that are cut off this car. I lost it. In my head, I lost it. I'm like, I just wasted 3 days away from my family. Not to mention the day up trip and the day up trip back. What have I done? Like, have I just discovered that this guy has got all these beautiful cars sitting inside this building, and every single one of them was a clone, not a real SS, not even close to a real RSSS or a SuperSport convertible or a '70 Chevelle hardtop convertible, hardtop SS. Every car he had in that building was a clone, but he was charging full price for it. That there was a six-cylinder Chevelle, '70 Chevelle. He had cut parts off for these other, like it was just like, damn man, like I thought this was my big break. Like I thought I was gonna like change the world with all these cars I discovered. And when I just happened to go out into the back and take a leak, discovered all these top cars that they'd been using for parts and stuff like that. I just couldn't believe it. I was so pissed. I was just so, what do I do? Like this, we're talking 3 days of my time and my own money, and I can't sell these cars. That red '69 RSSS Camaro convertible, it's a clone. I can't sell that. I mean, I can tell people it's a clone, but I'm like an idiot, and I can't sell. You know, if it was a real car, it's worth 100 grand. The way that this guy had it portrayed in the building, knowing the truth, 20 grand. Thanks for coming out and checking out Tales from the Bush. Hope to hear from you soon.